What is going on?
I really like that one, man. I really like that intro. That's a good one.
That's called Creep.
That's called Creep?
Not Radiohead.
Well, it's funny because, like, yeah, that's clearly not Radiohead.
This is like a royalty-free music.
Yeah. But it is funny because, like, anytime I hear the word, like, I immediately think of Radiohead. And that is, honest to God, one of my absolute all-time favorite songs.
Oh, okay.
I love that song. So, yeah, Radiohead, like, that's one of my all-time favorite songs.
Cool.
So, that's cool.
Yeah, so looks like you guys got a 500 or 1,000-year storm headed your way or something.
Yeah, baby. We're getting ready. Building the ark, getting ready.
This is like an annual tradition. I think you had tornadoes come through like around this time last year.
Like almost dead on this time, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. And like tonight, man, it is going to hit, and it sucks because it's going to hit like right at midnight, right at 1 a.m. So I'm going to be all nice and snuggled in asleep. That first, like, here's like that, like, we have a bulldog that is 71 pounds of pure muscle, and he is the biggest baby ever. So that first crack of thunder, or that first snap of lightning that he sees in the window, all 71 pounds is going to be up and shaking and freaking out and running around looking for cover. So I'm guessing whenever that first crack hits, from that point on, I'm pretty much awake for the rest of the night because he will not go back to sleep. We have one of those thunder shirts that we put on him.
Oh.
And it does okay, but it doesn't do the full job. It doesn't do everything. He's still freaked out. So
man, there's not much you can do about that. I don't know. Soundproof room.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. There's really nothing. You're right. It's like
they'll still sense it, even if it's like
100%. Yeah, so one of the folks I work with, she's like, hey, I've actually heard that people who have weighted blankets work really well too. So we happen to have a weighted blanket. I'll throw it on that big bastard.
There you go.
And see if it even phases him. So
like, take this.
Yeah. What you been up to
though? Not too much. Yeah, like we've been on the go a lot. Finally had a weekend to just kind of chill out. Went and checked out Solvang on Sunday. That's nice. The town where that movie Sideways takes place.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool little town. But yeah, not too much. One thing before we get jumping into Ultra Talk, well, it's kind of related. I saw a Strava post by you, and it was a longer run and on a trail, and I was like, "Oh, Johnny, getting back!" And then you also mentioned something about Chaz gave you some advice about shoes. So
it
was very cryptic, and I want to know more.
Yeah. So here's what it is: for years and years and years, we've all ran in zero drops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have a little opportunity where we might be able to try some other shoes, right? But those shoes have like an 8mm drop.
Don't they make don't they make a 4, or they're going to come out with a 4?
The 4s are coming out. The 4mm are coming out in the fall. It's going to be their trail shoes. Well, my non-patient ass like, no, I want to try some cool shit now.
Yeah.
So anyways, I knew that I was getting ready to get some 8mm drops. So I was like, well, like I have been wanting to I've not been loving the zero drops. I've just had this weird thing. There's all these cool shoes that have drops. And so I was talking to Chaz about it. And Chaz is like, listen, I haven't been running in zero drops for a while.
Really?
And so he told me about this pair of Ultras that he's been running in, and I didn't know.
Oh, the 4mm?
Yeah. And so I'm like, well, you know what? I have these 8mm coming, which I think they show up tomorrow. No, tomorrow's Thursday. I think they show up Friday.
Okay.
And I have these 8mm coming, so I'm like, you know what? Like, let's get some 4s and like start working back into them. So they're the Ultra Experience Flows.
Yeah.
And they're only 4mm drops. To the best of my knowledge, My stride has not changed at all. I'm still striking like kind of mid-foot like I would with zero drops. Dude. Unbelievably comfortable. Unbelievably comfortable. They are honest to God, maybe I don't remember loving a pair of shoes as much as I love these in forever. I think the last pair of shoes that I got that I was immediately like, oh my God, I'm in love. I think you got to go all the way back to like, remember the like OG Hokas that had the speed laces on them?
Yeah.
I honest to God, like maybe the Maffies or something like that, I think they're called, the Hoka Maffies. Like, I want to say it's been that long. Like, when I put those Maffies on for the first time, I was like, yo. I now love these Ultra Experience Flows as much as I love those, and there's been nothing in the middle since.
Interesting. How is it on your knee?
Fine. Even with the 4mm,
yeah,
it is so much cushion. There's so much cushion in them. They are so soft.
So, well, that's good to hear, because hopefully it'll affect your stride enough to where you're not putting pressure on whatever's causing this knee discomfort. Yeah. You know, I'm running a lot more pavement now than I was in San Francisco, like during the week. And so I busted out these Ultra Outroad 2s, and they're designed to be a hybrid between like a road shoe and like a light trail shoe. And
they're gravel shoes.
Yeah, I tried them out in San Francisco, and you know, for whatever, they were more cushion than the Lone Peaks. For whatever reason, I put them in storage. And the other day I was thinking, you know, I'm running a lot more pavement, like, and my Lone Peaks just are like the cushion's so minimal, right? So like, I busted out the Outroad 2s, and I put them on yesterday. I think yesterday, it was 2 days ago. And literally I got like to the end of my street and realized why I put them in storage, because
oh really?
Yeah, because my feet felt like they were in prison, like in a cast. Like there was no ground feel, which was weird, and like it just seemed like they were constricting and heavy. And like
really,
I just hated, like I didn't feel like I was running in my stride, because I mean the Lone Peaks are light, right? I guess that's the benefit. And I did try a 4mm drop with Topos a couple of years, like maybe 2 years ago, and I was hoping that those were going to work for me, but my shin splints started up right away. So that's the reason why I got into barefoot running in 2009, was because of shin splints, and eventually moved into zero drop for ultra running, because you can't, like, I can't wear barefoot style shoes
dude. Every time I see someone running in sandals on the trail, I'm like, golly days. Like, it makes my toenails hurt. I'm just waiting for him to kick the fuck out of a root.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Lucas, man. He's still rocking like Hirachis.
Still rocking it? Oh my God. But dude, they might not work for you, right? If those Topo 4mm didn't work, these might not work either. But man, dude, Experience Flows. They have road and they have trail. And so I'm thinking about picking up a pair of trail also, but I need to pump the brakes, because I got those and I got those other ones coming. But it is funny because and then I also went on the other thing I'm in love with, and we got to get started. The other thing I'm currently in love with is I bit the bullet, and I've been trying. I tried those Path Project shorts.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, done.
Okay.
Done.
We are not sponsored by Ultra. We are not sponsored by Path Projects. We are not sponsored by anything.
But your boys.
But if any of those companies are interested, we would be happy to oblige.
Oh, dude. Yeah, Path Project, man. It takes a little bit of dialing in. I will say, I mean, I am a girthy lad, right? Like I'm not the tiniest cat. And I bought for the base layer, right? For my base liners, I bought the extra large. I bought the Tahoe's, the Tahoe C, I think, and I bought an extra large 8-inch inseam. Bro, they fit big as hell on me, big as hell. So I will say that, and like I'm not a tiny dude. Like I can almost promise anyone listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube, you are not as big as I am.
So,
I can almost promise.
So I need to find a good running short. Do you want to know what the best running shorts that I ever had were?
What's that?
The ones that you left at my house.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I held on to them for you for like 2 years, and then you came back. You came back to visit, and you're like, oh, I don't want those.
Yeah, I purposely left those for you. What were they?
I'm like, they were Salomon.
Oh, that's right. I wanted those to work so bad for me. I love Solomon stuff. But again, if you're not European-ish size, like I have Solomon stuff that is XL, and I swear to God, I look like a sausage crammed into those things.
Dude, I wore those shorts. They were they're like paper thin.
Yeah.
And I wore them for all my long runs, and then the crotch was blown out in them, and I had to bobby pin it for mountain lakes. And after mountain lakes, they were too far gone, so I had to get rid of them. But I am interested in path projects. I do need some new shorts for long runs, especially. Yeah, right now I'm just rocking some Nike Air Jordan shorts.
Yeah. It is funny because so the other company that I went in this weird rabbit hole on Reddit. There's another company called I8. Have you heard of I as in India? I8 or I9 maybe? They have like running shorts also. And like I've heard some feedback on those. Like those run pretty small. Like it's a Japanese company, and even on their website, they even say on their website, they're like, hey, listen, we're sized Asian size, so like you might need to order a full size up from what you think. Which I'm like, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, but these
look pretty nice.
And so now the thing is like those are just shorts, right? So then you got to buy the base layer with them.
I don't want the base layer. That's my thing. I don't like base layers because I wear my Under Armour.
Okay, dude, these are so nice.
I was having such a hard time finding running shorts without a damn liner.
These are it right here. They are. Now I will say the one thing that is kind of funny. The one thing that is funny about these is the Graves. I think it's the one short. They claim that they have a ton of storage. They have almost no storage, like very minimal. So if you're a pocket person, if you love to have pockets,
I'm a side pockets, like one for my bandana and one for like my keys or.
Yeah. So I will say these guys are a little like, I don't know what short you're looking at right now. I'm not sure which ones these are.
This is the Graves PX.
Okay. So maybe I thought I had the Graves, but it shows him sliding a phone in somewhere. I need them to show me where he's putting that phone at, because I swear on everything holy, I don't have anywhere to put a phone. And I guess shows he has side pockets. Maybe I don't have the Graves.
There's one in the back. He's sliding the phone in the back pocket.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that. That must be the world's smallest iPhone, dude. That's not an iPhone.
This is the Graves PX.
So let me see what ones I've ordered. Oh, dude, we talked it into existence. My Path project, my latest Path project order just shipped. Those ones I got the Lynx PD, and I got the Sykes AT Relax Fit.
Oh, so here's the Sykes PX.
And So the Sykes AT is the one I have coming now, or the new ones I have coming. And then let's see something. The other ones I have is
Race Day short with optimal storage solutions. That's the Sykes.
the other ones I have, the Sykes PX.
Look at he's what putting the phone back there.
The Sykes PX, I'm telling you, if it shows that he has a side pocket on there, my mind is going to be bent because I swear on everything there's not a side pocket on these.
No, looks like
no. There's anybody
just a back pocket.
Yeah,
he's got a pocket for gel and a pocket for phone.
And when it says it's like a gel, it's the world's smallest pocket.
Yeah, like you might have to bend that gel.
Yeah. So when they say optimal storage, I think they mean optimal as in like you only have 2 pockets, so you don't have to spend a lot of time looking for which pocket
when they say race day, they mean like a 10K.
yeah. Like you are not running. You are not putting all your fuel in these.
Yeah. I think I might try the Graves.
Here's what else is kind of interesting about this company is they obviously make stuff like they only make what they need. And like you'll notice that because it's pretty often you'll go on to order something and it's sold out and you have to wait for them to do a restock.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of interesting.
Well, it's a small company. I know that. They advertise on Trail Runner Nation's podcast. And actually they've had the guy on, I think, that started Path Projects.
Now, I have beautiful quads, right? If you know me, you know I got great quads and I have great quads and amazing calves. Everyone knows this who has run with me. So you know me, I like my 5-inch, slutty shorts.
Oh,
so I like my little 5-inch.
No. I need the 7-inch, man. I'm going Courtney DeWalter, not quite Courtney DeWalter style, but
you're going.
I'm not going below the knee, but
you're going Fab 5 Michigan Wolverines basketball, right? like big ass baggy.
Yeah, not that big, but you get the idea. All right, man. Let's talk about some ultra running.
Yeah, let's get into some races.
Not that this conversation isn't fun. I love talking gear.
I can nerd out on some gear.
Yeah. All right. Well, one thing that we didn't mention, I don't even know if it was finished when we recorded our last show, but the Ohio Backyard Ultra was on March 22nd, started, and no surprise, but Harvey Lewis ended up winning with 208 miles. And Jeff Walker had the assist. Lauren Jones went furthest for the women, 158 miles. So Harvey Lewis securing his spot. I think that was one of those like golden tickets for the Bigs backyard.
Oh, I'm sure.
In October, like the World Championships or whatever, which only like 15 people run in. So, okay, we're covering some extreme races, and we don't even have results for some of these, and we'll explain why. But
because it's that extreme.
But the next race we're going to talk about is the Iditarod. So I don't know what year it was they started this, but they started doing different categories for the Iditarod. It's not just a dog sled race anymore. They started allowing on foot, by bike, or by skis, and they do different distances. They have a, let's see here.
What do they have? They have 3 distances. They have like a 150, a 350, and a 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000. Yeah,
that is awesome.
So the Iditarod 1000 just finished up. And that's the one I want to talk about because they carry, just like Arrowhead, but on a much grander scale. And they carry stuff on their sleds. And I didn't look into the race too much. They might have a few a few resupply stops. I'm sure they have resupply stops, but 3 people did it on foot this year, completed it. John Rickner did 26 days, 4 hours, and 21 minutes. So you really got to have some time on your hands to do this. Like,
dude,
it looks pretty extreme. Like, you know, like Iditarod, it's up in Alaska, and weather can be like 50 below. And Carrie Gibbons was the first and only finisher for the women on foot in 27 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes. And she finished at the same time as Peter Inneman, who was the second male to finish on foot. So one person finished on skis, Eric Bassett, 26 days, 4 hours, and 21 minutes. So Eric finished at the same time as the first place foot runner, John Rickner, or hiker, or whatever. Several people finished on bikes.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So like it was a Minnesota ultra runner who finished the 1,000 for the women, and there's a picture of her on Instagram. Yeah, it's across the interior of Alaska. She pulled a sled with 55 pounds of gear, hiked into Nome after a little more than 27 days navigating the Alaskan wilderness to win the Iditarod 1000. Similar to the format in January's Arrowhead 135. Yep. She said, I'm definitely still processing the last day in the finish. She's 45, and she said to finish is just so surreal, like it happened to somebody else. Her race began February 23rd at Nick Lake, north of Anchorage. Across disciplines, 104 racers overall set out in the 1,000, 350, and the 350, and 92 finished. So it's a pretty good finisher rate for those races, 92 out of 104.
Well, it's because to do the 1,000 miler, you have to do the 350 miler first. So, like, think about like. Yeah, I mean, only a handful of chosen, like, extreme idiots are even able to sign up for the 1,000.
Doing the 1,000, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. But, yeah, I'd like to maybe see it. I'm sure there's some YouTube videos and whatnot. I'd like to check some of that out. The next race, which is really cool, we don't have results for this race, but it's called the Speed Project. Some of you may have heard of this before. Essentially, it's around 340 miles on pretty much like the standard routes that people go, but this is invite only. It's unsanctioned because for reasons that it goes on roads and, you know, public roads. There's no winner. There's really no website. It's invite only. They do have an Instagram page with pictures and some videos of people finishing, but this race goes from the Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles to the Welcome to Las Vegas sign in Las Vegas. And basically there's no aid stations, so you have to have a crew. You can take any, from my understanding, you can take any route you want, but there's really like 2 routes that people do. And I think one of the routes involves some off-roading, like, or if you had a crew vehicle, it would be a very rough drive for the crew unless they had like a serious like 4-wheel drive. I watched a video on the Speed Project. I think I was telling Johnny about it. This guy did a circumnavigation of North America or the United States and Canada or something. And like, he'd already gone like over 6,000 miles. And then he finished up by running the Speed Project. And that video, I'll share a link to it in the show notes, but So anyways, the speed project, you can do it solo or you can do it relay style. And I've seen, video of both. So, so that just finished up. And like I said, I looked for results, couldn't find any results, but I did want to give a shout out. First let's look at some of these pictures.
What's that? As I said, the Instagram page is amazing. Like the photos are like high quality, like really well done photos. Like it is definitely ran by like marketing minded people. You know what I mean? Like the photography is really great.
Yeah, pretty much. The only way to get in is to know somebody that knows
somebody.
Whoever's putting it on. But yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Jackie Hunt Broersma. She is an adaptive athlete, and she finished the solo race. She runs with a prosthetic leg, and I was looking through her Facebook posts, and it looks like she had some issues where like the crew all backed out. I think maybe her husband was there crewing. But anyways, she did finish, and I'm having trouble logging in, or I need to log into Facebook, which I don't have with this account. So I'll have to do that. But anyways, she did finish. It was pretty emotional. Let me see if I got the Instagram video of that. No, I don't think I do. I'm gonna open up browser under my name and
see if you can get it.
I can share that. Yeah. Okay. Let me pull that up. Let's see. Stop screen. Yeah, pretty incredible feat. There was one point where like the stump, like her stump was rubbing on the prosthetic, and it was like she had 150 miles to go, and it was super painful.
That's a bad time to be getting rubbing like that. That would suck.
Yeah.
I just came across a picture on their Instagram page of a dude eating a piece of pizza with pineapple. I'm that guy. I feel like pineapple and pizza go together like
they do.
Oh, I love pineapple and pizza.
I used to be a purist, and I would have been upset at that comment a long time ago. But I came around, and my favorite combo is pineapple, jalapeno, and mushroom.
Wow, you had me up until mushroom, but jalapeno. Now mine used to be, and I can't do this anymore. Jalapeno, pineapple, and bacon, or ham, either one. And I can't do that anymore. So now it's just pineapple and jalapeno because you get that sweet and spicy.
Yeah, I like that sweet and spicy. But anyways, here's Jackie. For those of you that are listening and not watching on YouTube, it's just a video montage of her finishing at the Las Vegas sign. A bunch of people cheering her in. It's pretty incredible.
Maybe somehow, some way, one of them who has control of this is listening to the podcast. Maybe we get invited for next year.
Yeah. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to do as a relay. I'd have to do some serious training for like 300 miles.
Get out of here.
350 miles.
We can do 300 by ourselves.
So
we don't need no stinking relay.
Yeah. She said day 3 was an early start. She was 300 miles in on day 3. 2 hours sleep.
You're 300 miles in on day 3. You're a bad motherfucker. Like you're knocking out 100 miles a day.
Oh, maybe she's just saying it's 300 in total. Let me see. Yeah, she's saying it's 300 total. anyways, on day 3, she said 2 hours sleep. At 1 a.m., she was up again and on her way. Foggy morning, hard to see. Some sections were a little scary as cars came flying by. It's a little sketchy with dark tunnels, lonely trails. Her stump was so swollen and bruised that she couldn't fit into her running leg and was a little panicked because she was a day behind the original planned schedule. A little bummed that she couldn't actually run, but was determined to finish what she started, so kept shuffling. She almost got hit by a car because a guy skipped a light. Totally in the dark. She could hear a man's voice shouting at her, "Do you want to get high with me?" He kept repeating the question. I couldn't see him because it was so dark. With her hand on her pepper spray, she walked a little faster and politely declined his offer. Yeah, that's not a good thing to hear, especially in the dark. In the dark when you're solo.
Get high with me?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no
that's
thanks.
Awesome. I'm good.
You have at it.
All yours, man. All yours.
Yeah,
that's a cool race.
But anyway, it is wild. There's lots of videos out there on YouTube about the Speed Project. I encourage everybody to check it out. It's pretty wild. Okay, let's move on to a race that only gets a shout out because of the name. And we're talking about none other than the Rattlesnake Dick 50K.
Rattlesnake Dick? God, I love it. What a name, man. What an absolute name.
This is in Cool, California. And apparently, Rattlesnake Dick was a legend. The guy's name was Richard Barter, who lived from 1833 to 1859. So he only lived, didn't even see his 30th birthday.
Jeez.
I wonder what the legend is, though. I'd like to look that up sometime.
Wait, when did he live?
1833 to 1859.
How the fuck? How do we? Who said he's a legend? Like, how did it? Like, I need to get on this dude's wiki page. Is there a wiki page about this guy?
Sure
Richard
is.
Barter. No, get out of here.
Born in Canada. 1850, he came to California on the Oregon Trail with 3 family members. Tried his luck at mining rattlesnake bar during California's gold rush. Twice charged and once convicted of being a thief. The second time for stealing a mule. Once the mule and the real thief were found, he was released. Oh, so he didn't even do it, dude.
What in the world?
For 2 years, he mined in Shasta County under the assumed name of Dick Woods. Dick Woods. It was an uneventful period for him until a former foe from Rattlesnake Bar entered the county and shared information about Barter's reputation. His name was sullied. Turning outlaw, he became a highwayman and joined a gang that was known for stagecoach robbery. In the summer of 1856, he planned one of the biggest holdups during the gold rush. His gang stole 80,000 of gold bullion, equivalent to $2,800,000 in 2024, from a mule train guarded by the Wells Fargo Express. But Barter and Cyrus Skinner were arrested for stealing mules, which foiled the successful completion of the crime. Barter was killed on July 11th, 1859, after a shootout with lawmen. So,
dude, what in the world? Cool California is basically I mean, like it. I don't even think there's really houses in Cool California. Like there's legit there's like
a fire station.
There, as I said, there's a gas station, there's a Mexican joint, and a pizza joint, and that is about it.
Yeah, I think there's some residents, but yeah, it's like a little enclave of Auburn. So let me go back to the actual race page here. So they named this Rattlesnake Dick 50K. This was the second year for the race. 72 people finished. Robert Russell was first, 4 hours, 17 minutes. And first for the women was Katie Trent, 5 hours and 40 minutes. I wonder if Katie is any relation to that John Trent, who writes for Ultra Running Magazine. He's a really good writer, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So this next race, I wanted to just talk about because, and I think I've mentioned it on this podcast before, but I did this race in 2020 right before the world shut down. And back then, I think only like 10 or 15 people could sign up on Ultrasignup because it is a fat ass. Now I believe there's an entry fee and it's all donated to charity. Well, they have to pay for insurance for the event, and the rest is all donated to a charity. This year is for Healing Hounds Rescue. But anyway, this dude named Duke Hong puts the race on, and he couldn't make it this year, I guess, because whatever. But Sylvie Abel from I think she's from Marin County. She took over as the race director. But anyway, let me tell you why this race is crazy. So first, before you even start, okay, there's no aid station, so you have to bring all your supplies. You have to bring your water and your nutrition and everything. And you have to actually haul this stuff up a 2-mile, 1,000-foot climb to the start line of the race. Okay. And then there's this trail. It's a climb from where you start. It's a 1.5-mile climb, and it's 1,000 feet in that mile and a half. So, and it's called Dog Meat. That's the nickname for the trail. It's really like paint, or it's really called Priest Rock, but Dog Meat is the upper part of Priest Rock. And so basically the race is you do 10 out and backs of Dog Meat. So it's essentially a 50K with, over 10,000 feet of climbing.
10.9 to be exact.
And it's steep, dude. It's steep. Like my quads, because of the downhill, my quads were wrecked for like 3 weeks. I'm not even kidding. I've never had that much quad pain in my life.
That's awesome.
And it was right before COVID, so luckily I didn't. Any events that I had got canceled, but and then you have to hike down after you're done. But it's just one of those crazy ass races that's like you're like, this is just going to be horrible and stupid, and then it's like, I don't know. Then the challenge turns into be like something kind of cool. I don't know. Like, and it was hot. It was hot the day we did it, and there's like one tree on that climb, and I call it the tree of life because it is the only shade on the course.
On the well, it's funny because on right there on that thumbnail, you can see the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can that road is just. I mean, yeah. Like
it is. It is just a fire road. This is like. Yeah, you're looking going downhill right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's steep. It's steep. That dude Duke, he has the best blog. Like he's really a good writer, really funny guy. But yeah, it's in the South Bay. It's in and yeah, it can be hot. It can be really hot. So, but it's called the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Bad Day 50K. After the Dr. Seuss. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, but they just had it a couple days, or this last weekend they had it, and I didn't see any race results, but Yeah, there's kind of a picture of it. Okay. Next, Oak Mountain 50K in its 24th year.
That one's been oldest 50K. What is it? Second oldest 50K in Alabama?
Yep. And looks like 600 feet or 3,900 feet of climbing. No repeating loops. 117 finishers this year. Cam LaCroix first in 5 hours and 14 minutes. And Becca Murray, second overall and first for the women in 5 hours and 17 minutes. She was right on his heels. Okay. Let's move on to...
That does look like a pretty cool... This is like a pretty cool map, actually. Pretty cool route.
Yeah. Looks like, yeah, forested hills.
Yeah.
Take a look. Oh, the website. For some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's put on by the Pinhoti folks.
If you go to their website, it doesn't look like it is, though. Like, I managed to get to... I went to... If you go to registration... Right, like from where you're at now, go to registration or jump over to Ultrasignup and then hit their website. It'll take you to the website.
Oh, all right.
So I had to jump through a couple of hoops, but
that's a cool trail.
Yeah, you get some good water crossings. It looks like, and
oh, there we go. It says Pinhoti Trail Series.
Man, I've never ran in Alabama, but I just I feel like those trails are not easy too.
Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty cool. Like this shot with the clouds swirling around.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the FKT of the week, and we're looking at a FKT in the Grand Canyon. Not what you think. This is the Tonto Trail. The Tonto Trail goes from the Grand Canyon all the way to, it officially begins at Garnett Canyon and ends at Red Canyon. It's 91 miles. It's 8,311 feet of climbing. So not a crazy amount of climbing for 91 miles, but it is in the canyon. It goes like parallel along the Colorado River.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It is like you're saying, when you think of the canyon, it's not what you think of.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of like ups and downs. Like it's very rolling.
Yeah.
Actually, I think. When we did that rim to rim to rim, I think you crossed the Tonto Trail because it goes, parallel to the river. So when you're going down, you cross over it. Brittany Haver just set the female unsupported FKT. So that means she carried all her food with her. And got water only from public sources. She did that in 1 day, 9 hours and 58 minutes and 58 seconds, which is 33 hours, 58 minutes and 58 seconds. Unsupported would be hard on that route.
Dude, that is, you are carrying a lot of weight. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Yeah. Oh, here's some pictures.
They're saying the whole trip is 117 miles.
Yeah, so you can do the whole trail. Yeah, 117. But 91 is for the FKT.
No one has done the out and back yet.
It's only a matter of time.
Oh, yeah. There's always some idiot that'll knock it out.
Yeah. Dude, the Grand Canyon is so cool, man. Really is. All right, let's move on to news. So last week we had talked about how Ultrasignup was starting a new podcast, and I did forget that they did already have a flagship. They do already have a flagship podcast. It's called The Trailhead, and they've had that one for a while. Zoe Rom hosts that one, and they just announced that Brandon Leonard is going to join as a co-host. So Ultrasignup now has 2 podcasts, and as we mentioned last week, if they're looking to have a trail running, ultra running news podcast join their network, we know some guys. All right. And next up, I wanted to talk about this article on iRunFar that kind of is in line with something that we've talked about on the podcast several times.
Yeah.
About how these records just continue to fall every year. There's big time races that records are falling. And this article was written by Zander Chase, and it's Are Trail Runners Getting Faster? And he's saying everywhere you look, it seems that course records are falling, which is true. So this article, it kind of explores that. And there's some really interesting graphs on this article. And this one looks at Black Canyon 100K, the top 25 men's performances of the year. And you can see back in 2014 how it was spread out from 10-hour finish all the way to like 16 or like 15 and a half hour finish. And then in 2015, it goes from like a little over 8.5 hours to 13.5 hours. And the grouping just gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
And
24 and 25 is nuts.
Yeah. So 24 and 25 are pretty close to the same, where it's like 7.5 hours to 9 hours. So like all 25 were in that time period. And so it's just really scrunched. So that means you have all the elites are just, there's just more elites coming into these races, and they're finishing a lot closer together. And then it was the same for the women too. Like 2015 was stretched out, the top 25 from 10 hours all the way into almost 18 hours. And now in 2025, it's like just a little over 8 hours to like 10.5 or like 11 hours. So it's like a 3-hour window versus like a 8-hour window, and just in the span of 10 years.
If you look at Black Canyon men's and women's in that 10-year window, just another way to like conceptualize what we're talking about. If you were the first place person in 2014 for men's or women's, you are not in the top 25 and all the way down till 22.
Yes. 21 for the men.
21 for the men, and 22 for the women. Like, it's crazy. Yep. And it's been like that, and then every year thereafter. Like, it's crazy. Like, your first time place in 2014 does not even get you in the top 25 anymore.
Yep.
So pretty clearly and pretty nicely, what this graph demonstrates is, yes, ultra runners are getting faster, and there's more of them that's fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the wild thing. It's not like it's like, oh, Walmsley's getting faster year in and year out. No, it's like, oh, look, there is now 25 Walmsleys.
Yeah.
And they're all fucking freaks.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane. But it goes down to this Javelina. Like,
yep.
it
Javelina
this is
100.
really cool. Yep. Triple C.
Oh yeah, that's the 100K and at UTMB.
Yeah.
CCC.
Now Triple C is a little bit of a different one, right? Like at least in 13 and 14, you know, your top finishers are at least there in the top 25.
Yeah.
You know,
like
I mean,
about
at least
midway.
Yeah, like lower half. Yeah. Javelina's really kind of interesting though, isn't it? Like it's pretty spread out. You can see
it is spread out. Like I can't believe that the top 25 men that you had the 25th place was in 2005 was like over 28 hours.
It's interesting because the other thing that this graph does a pretty nice job at kind of demonstrating is what races have the highest competition.
Yeah.
Like pretty clearly, right, by pretty clear, you know, eyesight. This graph tells me Black Canyon is where everyone goes to show out.
Yeah.
You know, and then Javelina obviously has some talent, but then Triple C, you know,
yeah,
you get a little bit more variety. Like you're like everyone, you know, I mean, you're getting a little bit more.
I'd really like to see the graph on Western States. I'm sure it's available.
I bet
somewhere.
Western States is just bonkers.
Yeah, I'm sure it's available somewhere.
Because, come on, John. AJ, he was talking about some crazy stats from Western States about like what times would get you from today back in the day. You know what I mean? What the flow times would get you nowadays, and it's just it's hard to wrap your head around. You know what I mean?
It really is. One interesting thing, though, if you look at the median performances by year, it's actually gone down. So like middle of the pack, or I guess you get more people in the middle and back of the pack now,
but that's only for Black Canyon. Javelina, it's gone up, right?
Way up at Javelina,
yeah, and then Black Canyon is the only one that's gone down. It's the only one that's gone down. But that's again, it goes back to what you're saying. Black Canyon is like, listen, I love that race. I did. I truly had a good time running that race, even though I fucking dry heaved for like the last 20 miles of it. Like I had a good time running that race. Fucking Ronnie has the funniest stories about that race for the rest of our lives. Even though that happened, I really enjoyed that race. But I don't think they have a cap. Like I think it's like lottie-dottie, bring everybody. Oh, what's that? Your grandma wants to run? Yeah, bring her out.
Yeah. It's a very generous cutoff.
She's in a wheelchair. That's cool. Someone will push her along the way. It's like they're taking everybody. So like it makes sense that it's
I think you have to finish in like under 16 hours to get the Western States qualifier, or under 16 or 17. I don't remember. I think it's 16.
16 at the lowest, 18 at the highest. So we'll call it 17 plus or minus an hour. But yeah, you're right. It's around there.
Yeah.
And I think the overall cutoff is like 24 hours or some crazy shit.
It's long, yeah.
It's crazy. It's 100K. I mean, like, my God, you can do a 100-miler in that time.
Yeah. Okay, so later on in the article, he talks about possible factors leading to shifts in performance. Better technology, it's easier to track your pace, and fueling. This is a big one, I think. Fueling is like, it's huge, right? Like, the technology with fueling has come a long way, and allows them, like higher carb fueling techniques allow athletes to maintain blood glucose levels for longer durations, leading to better recovery during training and sustained efforts over longer distances. Training theory, as more data becomes available, around optimized training approaches, elite athletes may be able to push to new levels through optimized speed and endurance. Because if you think about it, like when we first got into ultra running, the mindset was like Anton Krupicka, man. Like the elites were doing like 120 miles a week or more.
Yeah.
You know, now it's like strength, speed work, you know, targeted runs, not necessarily going out and crushing like 30 to 50 mile training runs every weekend.
Yeah.
So increased competition. That's a big one. Increased competition. Starting to see a lot of crossover from the collegiate track and field runners or cross country runners that are coming into ultra running. So there's a lot more speed entering the sport, and road runners too that are coming over. And then that was it. That was the last one. Increased competition. So there was 4 factors.
For me, I mean, all 4 of those are obviously factors, right? It's all 4 of those play a role, right? I think the interesting thing that would be really like I don't know what level of study we'd have to do, but I think it'd be interesting to say, okay, we have 4 factors, right? Is that what it was? There's 4 factors.
4,
right?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to say, okay, are these 25, 25, 25, 25? Or is it like one's 50 and the other 3 are, 10% or whatever, whatever percent else, you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to figure out like what percent like they each really played. And the other thing is, it's probably not, and the more I sit here and say that out loud, the other thing that's really interesting is if it was training for one of the elites was the biggest thing, maybe it would be fueling for the other one, right? Like what's good for one of them might not be good for the other one. It'd be interesting. The funny one for me, the one that really jumped out to me, and this is because, you talk to Mark Carroll, you talk to Keith Flint, you talk to the guys who've been running hundreds forever and a day, right? These motherfuckers were using bologna sandwich and water.
Yeah.
Like not even Gatorade hardly, it was like legitimately bologna sandwiches, water, and like a Coke.
Yep.
No shit, fueling's gotten better. What?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I said, the food, like the calorie technology.
Oh, it's crazy.
Except for maybe the awesome sauce.
little
Why? Because it's all natural. You can't shove that many calories into. So one thing that they didn't really mention, or if they did, I skipped over it. I think this race strategies have come a long way, and to go along with fueling, like crew strategies have come a long way. Like if you watch Jim Walmsley come into an aid station, his crew is essentially throwing a new loaded pack on him.
Yep.
And with water filled up with exactly what nutrition he needs.
Yep.
And they're dumping water on him and throwing a new pack on him, and he's gone. Like he's not even there for like 2 seconds, man. Like,
yeah.
So,
but and again, right? Like you look at that, and like it's funny because like I want. You know what? Speaking of crew, you know what old school term I want to bring back, and I want to make it back in style?
Handler. Yeah,
dude, I
thought about that before I started talking about that, and I was gonna say handler, and then it slipped my mind.
For now on, when you and I talk about that role, it's a handler.
Okay.
Like we need to normalize and bring back the term handler. Hey, you have a team of handlers out here? Who's your handler?
That's right.
We're going to be handlers for Pete. We're going to handle Pete. Like I love that term. Anyways, back in the day, your handler was like What do you want? Quit being a baby. Get up. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Like here's a beer.
Yeah, man. Like, you know what? Your belly's rumbling. Crack a Coors. You know what I mean? Like it was so awesome. So
yeah. Okay. So yeah, thought that was just an interesting article. Also, just to let everybody know, I can't find it anymore, but I did see like a Instagram story that John Kelly was on the Run SingleTrack podcast, which is a good podcast, talking about his Barkley experience, which I'm actually excited to listen about. And also, he's going to be doing an upcoming FKT attempt on the Appalachian Trail. So,
oh shit!
So that'll be interesting. Looks like he'll be gunning for Tara's FKT. I don't know if he's going to go north to south or south to north. I don't really know any of the details, but maybe I will learn more when I listen to the podcast. So.
I feel like if you really want to own it, like I hate to say it, if you really want to dominate it and you want to get the total record, right? Like you want the both direction title, you want the men's and women's title. If you want the whole kit and caboodle, you've got to go north to south. Now, Now, if you want to throw out some BDE and you want to just be like, what's up? Who wants to come for the smoke?
The BDE.
You go south to north and you get that one. You get the south to north overall men's and women's and total. Holy shit, dude. That is badass.
So I can almost guarantee he's going to be gunning for sub 40. Tara was just under 41, I think. So he's going to be going for sub 40.
And like, here's what's funny, right? Like, you know how we talk about this with Chianti, where we talk about, some people are just built to run certain races certain ways. Like, I feel like he is the type of dude, he's built for like, I can do the south to north and just smoke that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, this dude's done Barkley how many times? 4 or 5?
Yeah, at least 5. At least 5 attempts. Yeah. He's finished 3 or 4? 3, I think.
It's like if there's anyone I'm going to put money on it, I can go south to north and get the overall. I would feel safe putting a couple of dollars down on the line for that.
Yeah, and he's got other high profile FKTs like the Long Trail. He's capable.
Oh, yeah.
But dude, he got the FKT on the Pennine Way over in England. Like that's pretty hardcore. But with that being said, Appalachian Trail is a totally different ball game because it is way longer than a couple hundred miles. So it's grueling and anything can happen in 40 days, So anyways, be on the lookout for that. I don't know when he's going to start. I plan on listening to this podcast soon, so should get some more information. And that brings us to 3 T's. And today we are going to talk about running and life balance.
Something that we really don't know a lot about, but we're going to take our best stab at it.
Because I'm sure I get the feeling that it's like I'm the only one that is so busy all the time, and I'm like trying to fit in. But you hear podcasts, people talking about it, and I guarantee you that I'm less busy than a lot of people out there. So it's hard. Like, and I don't have kids. I don't have pets. I work from home.
You got a hella chill wife.
Yeah, like I have no excuses. Like, but it's still, we have stuff going on the weekends, and like you gotta balance it, right? You can't just totally ignore your life, even though when you're training for 100-miler or even a 50-miler, it's almost like you want to ignore your regular life just so you can do your long runs and then just be tired and do nothing afterwards. So how do you balance it? And like, I'm definitely no expert. I will just say that sometimes you got to make sacrifice. And so if I'm training for something, I'm designing a training plan. Like, I want to get to a certain mileage at the end of the week, every week. We talked about training plans before. And I have an idea of how many miles I need to run each day to get to that. And, so, if I'm going to make dinner, I'll try to make dinner on my off day and make enough food so there's leftovers for the next, for the day when I do need to run. So, I can tell Jessica, the food's in the fridge. You can just heat it up. I'm going to be out running for a long time. And then the weekend long runs, it's like, you just got to hit it early so you can make time for your family, make time for doing activities with your family. Because one thing that in life that you don't want to do is say, I can't do this thing or this stuff with you because I have to run. And sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to like compromise. Like, well, can we do that on Sunday? Or you have to figure it out. But sometimes you just got to run. You got to get the miles in. You got to be creative and figure it out. And one thing that will help you with is mental training for the real thing. So when you're tired, because you're going to be tired when you're doing your training runs because you're trying to work life and running in. I think, to conclude, there's no magic formula. There's no way to make more time in a day, right? Like,
There's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how you slice. It doesn't matter how you slice it and dice it. It doesn't matter what. Like, I saw this like reel or this like TikTok that someone had like spliced or whatever of some dumbass like dude talking about like, oh, I reshaped my day so I get up at 3 a.m. I'm like, shut the fuck. It's still 24 hours, you dipshit. It's still, so like, it doesn't matter how you do it. There's 24
then you got to go to bed at like 7 o'clock if you're going to do that, right?
And so for me, like, it's funny because like when I sit here and listen to you talk about this, the one thing that I heard you say that you didn't say, right? Like, there was like a theme. There's an underlying theme. It's communication. It's communication with your family and your significant. More likely
expectations.
It's you communicating effectively with your significant other or your family, right? And when I say communicating, I don't just mean you talking at them, telling what you're doing. Communication is a two-way thing, right? Like, you talk, you listen. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use it in that ratio, right? And communicate. And like, it's amazing when like you hear out your significant other, you hear out your family of like what they want or what, and then you say, hey, here's what I need. It's amazing how well you can really kind of begin to like work everything out. And like make stuff work around work, make stuff work around family stuff. Now, I will tell you this, like, it's funny because the mental trick that I play on myself or played on myself when I was doing long runs on Saturdays and Sundays was like, okay, I'm going to go get this long run in, right? And, me, I love to drive to Mohican, right? So it might be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock before I get back down home from Mohican, right? And so the one way I made a mental trick with myself was like, all right, whatever Jen wants to go do, whatever she wants to go do, I'm gonna shut my mouth up and I'm gonna go do it.
Yep.
And if it means walking around, you know what? Active recovery.
Yep.
You're getting active recovery. Just shut your effing mouth and go walk around.
You got to suck it up.
Suck it up, Buttercup. And it's like, okay, it's active recovery. I'm chalking this up to active recovery, and just go do it. But like, I think that's the big thing. It's communicating. It's hearing the person out. And the other part of it is where it's like, talk about making work-life balance and those kinds of, or, life running balance and those kind of stuff. I think the other thing that I think often gets buried in the weeds or lost, is, listen, if you're following a training plan that a coach put together, or like Relentless Forward Progress, if you're following those kind of things, they're designed to have missed runs, right? Like it's designed where, like, if you do 80% of what it calls for, you're going to be okay. There's like a 20% buffer built into most of those kind of things. So you know what? If life jumps up and it's like it just isn't there, it's okay, man. It is okay to chalk up a run here.
Don't burn yourself out, because you're going to get hurt worse than.
Don't go crazy and chalk up like all your Saturday long runs. Like, that mathematically works off to 20%. Like, don't do that.
Right.
But I think that's the big thing for me, man. It was just really communicating. It's really communicating.
Yeah.
And then also, like, you also hit a really valuable point, is like, my little running hobby is secondary. Right. So when my kids were in school and, maybe cross country meets or lacrosse games, wrestling matches, whatever they may be,
on a Friday night where you're planning on getting up at 4 a.m. to go run on Saturday.
Dude, my ass is going to those games.
Yep.
And I'm waking up and I'm having an extra cup of coffee, or if we're like cross country meets, like I've legitimately done this. Kids had a cross country meet. It's a fucking cross country meet. I'm willing to bet it's okay to run. And so I would get up and I would get there before the buses would get there, and I'd run the cross country course or around it or whatever and get my miles in, and then just, all right, well, I'm fucking here now. And just wait, right? It's just being creative and like figuring out stuff like that. Like, you're the one that needs to make the sacrifice, I think, is the key part of it too.
Yep. And if you're really savvy about it, you can make it work to your advantage, your benefit, by, like, for instance, like Johnny said, going to walk around, active recovery. Like, one thing that I always, try to do, like, because Jessica and I like to go hiking, right? So I plan it so that if I do my long run on Saturday, plan a nice hike on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's great training. Hiking is great training, because in a 100-miler, you're
going to walk
like 40% of it walking at least, or I do anyway. But yeah, like, it's just one of those things that you just got to kind of figure out. And you're not always going to be, perfect. Like, I'm in bed at 7 o'clock on Friday because I'm getting up at 4 a.m. and going and busting out my 30-mile long run. And it's not always going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's hard to accept sometimes, and like, I've trained for at least a 50-mile race every year since 2012. And it wears on you, man. Like, everybody knows this, I'm sure. Like, it wears on you. And this is the first year where I've sort of taken a break so far in the year, ever since Mountain Lakes 100. We were just talking about this before the show. I ran a 100-mile, or I ran a 10-mile run, and I ran a 12-mile run. Those are my two longest runs since the end of September, which we have some stuff coming up here soon that I need to start getting in shape for. But But it's just good to take a break, and I am planning on maybe running something later in the year, later in October, but that's tough too because it cuts into my other passion in life, which is college football. So
yeah, it is funny because like I have that one that I'm eyeballing, and like that is really like damn, that's all of them.
Yeah.
But, I guess that's what they got DVRs for, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So
anyway, all right. Well, we need to wrap this up, but thanks everyone for listening. Appreciate you all, and hope you have a good weekend and good long run if you're training for anything. So
yeah.
All right.
Cool. Thank you, everybody.
See you later.